Coach, you feel like you're playing for the top seed in the AFC with this game, that the stakes are that
I feel
big?
like we're playing Kansas City.
Does it seem like a higher stakes game than normal?
Feels like we're playing Kansas City.
How's it going on your end, brother man?
Going forward in reverse.
How about the end of the Hulk Hogan promo for the NWO? And this is for life, Jack, and it's not a stinking tagline.
Brother.
Yeah, he says something in that little promo about, what was one of his Hulk Hogan things? Anyway, I think he kind of accidentally said like one of his regular Hulk Hogan statements, and he's like, I hate that word, or something like that.
I guess you had to be there.
Maybe.
You still
Location.
watching a lot of YouTube videos of wrestling, huh?
Well, now I'm just listening to the podcast.
Oh, what are you listening to? 83 Weeks?
Yeah, I just finished the where'd it go? The Carlito episode on Something to Wrestle With.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm starting on Halloween Havoc 98, 83 weeks.
Something to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard.
Yep. Jack.
I've been enjoying Dinner with the King. That's another good show for you to listen to. Jerry the King Lawler.
Man, I got another one I gotta listen to.
Yeah, it's good.
It's hard to keep up, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of podcasts.
These guys are...
It's like every wrestler has a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happened is a couple guys jumped into it and they've been successful. Mm-hmm. And then all of them are just like, oh, I gotta do this. I'm not in the business anymore. I can still be relevant. I mean, I'm sure that's exactly what it is. But you can't be like, I guess Stone Cold, you said he's got a podcast, right?
Yeah, he was one of the first ones.
And that's good. But I think it's almost like for them, you can't be too big, too much of a celebrity. Like LeBron having a podcast or, you know.
Well,
you know
Stone Cold's
like,
been out of it for like 15 years
now.
Yeah,
but that's probably the right timing.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. But if you're too big of a current star and you have a podcast, it's kind of like the intrigue. I think the intrigue about a big star is part of what helps them be a big star, right?
It'd be like Mayfield having a podcast. That'd be weird.
Right. I think.
I don't know. I don't know if that would work.
Well,
I mean, it would work, but I mean.
And I think this is exactly why it doesn't work for everybody, because you can't pull all your punches. If I'm saying that correctly, pull your punch means you're holding back, right?
Let me Google that.
I think pulling a punch means you're holding back. So, if you're in the limelight, you have to hold back.
Right.
Because you got to protect some people and yourself or whatever the case may be. But once you get out of that limelight and you don't have to pull any punches, that's what we're trying to say. Then that's when it becomes interesting.
Yeah, sort of like Chris Jericho's podcast, which he's got to be careful. You know, he's got to dance around a few things.
Because he's still in the business, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which I noticed that in some of his interviews and so forth. You could tell he's just tiptoeing and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of weird. Like, he's doing a podcast and then he's supposed to be kayfabing, you know, either he's a heel or a babyface, and, you know, so if he's heel and then you're listening to his podcast during a week, it's just kind of like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's supposed to, he would be, ideally, he would be in character of what he was portraying in wrestling.
Right.
And then when he would switch, he would change his character on the podcast. That would probably be really cool.
If he would stay in character during a podcast, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think that's probably...
And that's what they used to do in the old days. Those guys lived those characters. They stayed in those characters when you saw them outside of wrestling.
Yeah, I think it would be important.
And today you get these, not all of them now, because Ronda Rousey just did an interview with TMZ today, and she was in character.
Perfect.
And it was great. It was great to see that. It was, you know, because they asked her about her upcoming match with the Bella Twins, the Bella Twins attacked her, and they asked her about it, and, you know, and she stayed in character the whole time. You know what I mean? She didn't, not one time did she come off character, and it was great. People in the comments were like, "This is how it should be."
Yeah.
Because you have heels and baby faces, or, you know, you have heels out there right now that are on Twitter and Instagram, and they're like, you know, they're bad on TV, and then the next day they're like posting, "Oh, hey, I'm at the beach, you know, I'm doing this, and I'm over here," you know. It's like, nah, you gotta stay in your character. That's the way it should be. But it's hard these days, you know. They can't control all that. WWE.
Yeah, I would think that you'd want them to remain. Well, you know, it's one thing if you bump into somebody for a photo in a restaurant or something like that, but if you're doing a podcast or something that's...
Well, you know who stays in character? The Miz. And if you bump into him somewhere outside of wrestling, he'll throw the character at you. He'll be like, you know, get away from me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
which is what you want.
Yeah. He's one dude that stays in character. It's really awesome.
You know, it's like that show that obviously me and you like, but Kirby hates, is, you know, Curb Your Enthusiasm. And
God, how can you hate that show?
I know, it just shows you
what
kind of person Kirby really is. So, you know, that Susie Green that's on that show, I think that's her name in the show, Susie Green. Well, you know how she tells everyone to F off.
I love it.
She said that when she meets people in real life, they say that to her. Tell me to F off. Say something to me. You know, they want her to be in character. Yeah. They're like, scream at me. You know, and she's like, I can't scream at you. You know, they're like, come on, scream at me. And
you don't want to see her outside of that.
And so she's like, I end up having to yell at them, and then they're all happy.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's important. Very important.
Agree.
I'm sitting here working on a wheel at the same time, looking at some design stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sounds interesting. Do tell.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh. Very proud of you.
Yeah. Very proud of you.
Buy a wheel like that, you get a free bowl of soup.
Exactly. But it looks good on you. Rodney Dangerfield. You know, I was listening to his stuff. We were going to some race. I forget where we were traveling to, but I started listening to some of his old stuff, and I liked it. It was, man, he was really unique with his delivery and how he kind of gave you that nervous
Yeah.
He kind of had this nervous tick, this nervous energy, and it came off in his routine, and it was good. It was funny stuff, just unique. Like we were talking about. I mean, it's these guys had their thing, and what's funny is he would do those movies in the '80s, and he pretty much is playing his character. It's like they're asking him to do a movie, but he's essentially like playing his own character he's already developed. So it's kind of interesting because you usually hire somebody and you're asking them, oh, this person's a they're well-defined actor, they're good at what they do, and you have them play this part, and for him and other people, I'm assuming it's like, well, we kind of just want you to do your thing. It's like, it's like, oh, well, what's my thing? Oh, we didn't even write anything for you. We just gonna give you a general outline. I don't get no respect,
God, I love the movie Caddyshack.
Yeah, must have been really something before electricity. So he's just like throwing his one-liners out there in the movie.
Tell the cook this is low-grade dog food.
Yeah.
Here, get yourself a haircut. It's like you could still see the marks on his steak where the jockey was hitting it.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, you know what comes out next Friday?
Friday the 13th.
Close. Halloween.
Ah. Does that have Jamie Lee Curtis in it?
Yeah, we talked about that in our chat. I was like, my God,
she's got to be about 70 by now, though.
Yeah. Just weird seeing them old like that. I don't like that.
It is. I mean, yeah, everybody, everyone that you kind of think about. I don't know if we went through this. We were talking about this with the Fall Guy and stuff one day, where the TV show The Fall Guy, but what's amazing is they were actually pretty old, a lot of people in those 80s days. They would hire older actors, guys that were in their 40s. And, like Lee Majors, who played in The Fall Guy. I mean, those guys were already, they weren't no teenagers, they'd already been around a long time. Chuck Norris, when he had his run, he was in his 40s.
I can't believe that dude's in his 70s. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I forget what I was going to say.
Yeah, when you look these people up, it's pretty impressive that how old they really are.
I just want to remember Jamie Lee Curtis from True Lies, the striptease scene.
Yeah, I think we exchanged that photo in the chat. But,
yeah, I don't want to remember her.
Oh, you know what that was a meme that stated that was actually in that scene. She wore her own clothes. That wasn't part of the wardrobe. Like, she did that in her own clothes.
Jeez.
That's what she came in with.
Wow.
That's what I said.
I couldn't believe the body on her when I first saw that. I'm like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
So, man, that was when did that movie come out?
I would say around 96, 97.
Wow.
So what is that, 20 years old now?
10 years ago.
No, it's definitely not 10.
Well, you know how everybody says, when I think of 10 years ago, it was 1995.
Yeah, exactly. It was 95 10 years ago.
1994.
Damn.
Great movie.
Yeah, I mean, she looked,
It's amazing.
she looked great in that movie too.
So how old was she then?
I bet you she was in her 40s.
Come on, this can't be true.
What?
I'm looking up Jamie Lee Curtis right now. How old did you think she was?
In her 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess maybe in the trailer for Halloween they just make her look really old. Because she's 59.
Okay.
I thought she was at least 70 something. That's amazing. Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm checking eBay right now.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you looking for?
I don't know. I look around, like I check for I look for vintage stuff.
Hmm.
Like I look for vintage RC cars. I look for vintage Bigfoot stuff.
All right, you're on eBay right now?
Yeah.
I want you to type in Pepsi.
Am I gonna regret this?
Pepsi, sex, cans.
Oh no.
And tell me if you remember these freaking cans. They came out 1990. Okay, see the very first photo there?
Hold on, I just bumped into something that's a total BS auction. Hold on. I'm just trying to figure out if this is
Oh,
trying to figure out who this is.
J Concepts thing?
No, it's like somebody. I'm wondering if somebody's trying to pawn something off as
As an autograph photo of Jason Rona.
something it's not. Well, it's kind of a nice Clifflet, old school body painted on it, and it looks good, but the buy it now price is $2,200.
What?
Exactly. It's a vintage Team Associated RC10 Mint FT kit, which FT kit is not. They didn't make an FT kit back then, but let's see the seller's other items here. This guy is basically he tries to sell everything at like the highest rate. Like
I heard it's $2,200, right? Or
Yeah.
best offer.
Then he's got a Kinwald edition car on here for $2,500. There's really not a whole lot. I mean, if he could get $2,500 for this stuff, I would be putting mine on here. BS stuff there.
Here. And yes, I know this car is not worth the buy it now price. That's why there's a make an offer option.
That's what it says?
Yeah, it says, come on, people, please have at least a normal range IQ before sending me a knucklehead message.
Wow. Murrieta, California. Wow. What's funny is when I first saw this, I thought it was Eric Reichert's car.
Jeez.
I was like, damn, Eric, going for the gusto, buddy.
Yeah. So I wonder why they put that price then if they know it's not worth that at all, just to see if somebody clicks on it and buys it for that?
Man. I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Nah, it's strange.
eBay and YouTube, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, back to my Pepsi cans.
All right, so I got to go look at Pepsi
Because we were talking
cans.
vintage, and so there's a vintage Team Associated. Now we're vintage Pepsi cans. Pepsi Sex cans.
Cans?
Yep.
I know this is going to be bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just I want to see if you remember these cans or not.
Oh.
Okay, see the ones that are stacked two up there?
Yep.
So it's when you stacked them, it's spelled sex, S-E-X. See it?
Oh, yeah.
And actually, Pepsi pulled these off the shelves after some controversy about it, of course, and there's not many of those out there. Did you ever remember seeing those back in 1990? I didn't.
So this is 1990?
Yep.
I actually do kind of remember this.
It's crazy. People are getting $20 for... This guy here wants $20 for one can.
Eric Reichert. 2,200.
I know this isn't worth the buy it now price, but use your goddamn head before you message me.
It's good stuff, though.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I cruise on here, look for some vintage stuff, see if anything. I love RC10Ts. I'm a sucker for an RC10T.
Mm-hmm.
The other cars, you know. But an RC10T,
That's the truck.
like it. I like them. You know, you can get some good bodies too. Is painted ones. Is you know Andy's from back in the day?
Yep.
Well, he still paints. Put some stuff on eBay. He's got some cool stuff on there.
Really? Wow.
I just like his style of his old school paint jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He does a really cool old paint job. I mean, it's amazing, but it's tough these days to get the painters to paint those kind of paint jobs, even though they look kind of easy. Today's painters they're not as good at the type of stuff. They like to do the abstract stuff, flames or tribals or something that doesn't have to be like totally exact.
Oh. Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's not as easy to get these classic style paint jobs and nail them the way that these old guys used to do them in the 80s. And
damn, you think it'd be easy now?
It's not. It's hard. It's hard for these guys to recreate them if that's not what they're used to doing. And then it's like the straighter the lines need to be and the more pop that it needs to have with that style, it gets even harder. It's like, look up, vintage painted team associated RC10T. That's just an example of one.
On eBay.
Yeah. It's like a black, white, fluorescent, yellow, and green.
There's oh, yeah.
Like a stadium truck body with black in the back, white in the front, yellow and green fade, kind of.
Yep,
it looks like a simple paint job.
That's hard to do?
It's hard to do. People are not very good at those. If you go to his buggy body, which is vintage painted RC10 Pro Tech 6061 or 6160, that is a hard paint job too. He's got two different colors in there with pinstripe separation, and it's just the way the pinstripes are laid out, and it's nice. He's got the window borders painted, got a little visor over the top with some little rivets. You don't see
clean looking.
Yeah, it's just clean.
I like how he autographs it.
Yeah, it is. That was always his kind of his thing, and it really when you want a vintage body and you got to have that look, it's hard to beat. He painted some bodies for us a month or so ago. Came out pretty well. I love painted bodies. I can't have enough. That's why the monster truck thing is so cool in RC, because you can do all these different schemes and match different trucks.
Right.
And it's just like, I just love having the bodies. Like, it's like, yeah, paint one like this. and it's just they look so cool when they're finished. It's just kind of fun, I guess. It's my version of being into the scaling part of it. Of RC is just on that, because you're trying to make it scale looking, but
I got my answer to the why they put a high dollar on the buy it now price. So they put a high dollar amount, so it goes to the top of the list. Oh wow! Here's a Team Associated RC car race in 1991 VHS for $50.
yeah, I used to love watching those things. RC car racing. How did you find the video?
It's down in there. The same vintage Team Associated painted, but if you just scroll down, it's down there.
So you typed in vintage?
Just put vintage Team Associated. Should come up.
Look at this. Somebody's got a racing bag on here, a vintage old school racing bag. That's the second. It's got a Matt Ledger autograph on here. Let's see. Brian Dunbar, Brian Cato, Mello, Daryl, which I know all these guys, Jason Schweitzer. That's when Associated was a 12-time world champion.
Oh yeah, $50.
First thing I wanted to get when I was a sponsored Associated driver was that inner cardboard box in that thing. When you see that view of that car carrier bag and there's the inner cardboard box, that was the first thing I ever ordered, that and a t-shirt.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah, I see the view. Yep. Had to have that box, right?
Yeah, that was the... You had made it when you had one of those boxes because they didn't sell it.
And if you're carrying one of those boxes to the track, you better be bringing something to the track. A game.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. You came in and people saw that. They knew that you were factory. And then it was like, oh, all right, well, let's see what this guy's got. You know, there'd be some races we'd go to and you'd see somebody coming in with that bag and you're like, who's this guy? This guy's not on the team. And I know everybody on the team. This guy's not on the team. Then you're like, all right, he's getting crushed this weekend. We were brutal competitors, man. Brutal.
Oh, hey, it's Thursday night, isn't it? I gotta set my fantasy lineup quick.
Oh, brother.
Sorry. Talk about something. RC.
Well, the guys just came back from the Fall Indoor Nationals, Fitchburg, Massachusetts, where they're at Todd Anderson's track. And
Fitchburg, Massachusetts.
they had a great race, just under 300 entries. And Paul and Alex went there.
Oh.
And I actually took the weekend and did my own racing. I went to St. Louis, Missouri, and ran the King of the Monster Trucks event.
Ooh.
So that was actually a lot of fun. Difficult, a lot more difficult than you would think.
Oh, yeah?
But
some good competition.
Yeah, we debuted a new body and showed some tires that we have in the works for the monster truck classes. And, I think I think a lot more people would be interested in doing this had they experienced it this way. Because really the qualifying and running the bracket type of racing is really pretty fun. And it's super challenging because you think it's, when you got the food chain of RC car, like you got the food chain of RC cars, right? Like you got some kind of, I'm sure sitting at the top of the food chain is the 8 scale on-road racers. They feel like they're the top of the food chain, right? They're like, yeah, we're like the F1 RC. Right. Then you got like the 8 scale buggy racers, which are probably right under that. Then you got like touring car, 10 scale off-road buggy, and then everything else kind of is below that somewhere, right? So I think in general people probably would think, these guys, the monster truck guy, that's like the bottom of the food chain, RC guys. Just from a hype, legitimacy, all those type of things. But it really actually was a ton of fun. Fred brought his scoring equipment, which is he has a real pro tree, like they would use in pro drag racing. So it has beams. So when you stage the truck, you're in the beams, just like the real deal. And then when you finish, you go across the beam. The tree shows you what your reaction time is, your lap time, and if you won or lost. So it's legit scoring, and it's fun because it is quick. You can pretty much lose to anybody at any given moment because the race is only like 7 or 8 seconds long. And so it's pretty cool. But going back to, I think in general people would assume that some of these things are bottom of the food chain, but I think after they did it, I think they would kind of change their mind a little bit and say, you know what, I think this is pretty fun. And that's kind of how I felt. Doing it, I was like, you know what, this is actually, it's kind of different for me. I haven't run it a lot. And the competition was there. I mean, I did win 2 classes. I got second in one and third in the other. So I still did pretty well, but it was very difficult because the vehicles don't handle like a 2-wheel buggy or so you got some fudge factor in there with how the thing, lands off of a jump or, there's a little bit of guesswork in Carlson there,
Oh boy.
You're enjoying this.
I gotta take a time out.
You're enjoying this, right? Or this is something else you're laughing about?
No, it's something that you said. I gotta take a deep breath. Okay. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go. So yeah.
It is difficult, but we had a lot of fun.
Right.
And Fred did a lot of the running of the races. So like I said, I won 2 classes, and then I got a second and third. Matt Stoltz won Mega Truck and Pro Truck, which are kind of like winning Pro Trucks, like winning like 2-wheel mod.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And
That's
so
legit.
he kicked butt there. But yeah, great times in the pits, laughing at each other. The same old stuff, but
right.
Racing a different kind of vehicle. And then, so we had that event. We got one video done. Fred came out and did his encore performance that he likes to do, doing his running his monster truck, his slash 4x4 monster truck conversion that we sell. He usually comes out at the end of the whole event and does he likes to say he comes out and burns it down with a freestyle pass. And he did it. So we made a video that's up Facebook. We made a video of
Did he do the triple sow chow?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Am I better off not knowing?
Did Fred have Bigfoot there?
No, he did not, but Bigfoot was there.
What? Which one was there?
How
many are there?
Bigfoot 1, the original.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Was it signing autographs?
The truck itself does not sign autographs,
Oh.
but but people driving it usually do.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, the truck was there. We did a lot of our photos and a lot of our video with that truck in the background. And kind of one thing that was funny is they were trying to move it around in there, but we were in a really nice building. This Vinyl Image Graphics is where we had the event inside, and so they were moving the truck around, but with these, this truck has a 640 cubic inch engine.
Jeez.
And the thing's a monster. So with these race engines and stuff, the way they are is, I think they're real finicky, and you can't just, it's not like you just hop in a regular pickup and you start it up and you just move it wherever you want. I mean, when you start this thing, it's like a deal, And then they're trying to start it too much and they flooded it out, which then I guess means on a full size truck or a big engine like that basically you foul the plugs, spark plugs. So in order to get it to start again, you have to put all new spark plugs.
Oh my God, you're kidding! Wow.
No. So it's a big commitment.
Yeah. Sounds it. Jeez.
But yeah, the truck's moved around. It's original Bigfoot 1, and
that's cool.
So yeah, it was neat. People like it, and also provides a nice backdrop in the building, in the facility. And,
yeah.
And then over at RC Excitement, the guys had a great race over there. I think that's one of the rare ones that I've missed. But
which race is this?
Fall Indoor Nationals at RC Excitement, and it was good. I mean, Spencer was over there, Alex K was over there. We had some great racers, and let's see, Spencer TQ'd both, but JP Richards actually won two-wheel drive with the Yokomo. Kind of Yokomo's really their biggest win all year on our series. It's pretty funny because Mayfield's run two of the events, and the one he TQ'd and then kind of got hosed in one of the mains. But anyway, but JP Richards came through and won two-wheel drive with the Yokomo, and then in four-wheel, Spencer was able to win the third main in that class and win four-wheel. And Alex K got second.
Big game this weekend, Spencer. Big game this weekend. Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, is it in Kansas City?
Kansas City Chiefs versus your 5-time world champion New England Patriots. In Foxborough.
Ooh. I mean, doesn't everybody talk up this Kansas City team at the start of every season, and then they blow out at the end?
I don't know. I think this time's different, though. I think they have.
Is this real?
Yeah, I think they have a legit quarterback, and I don't know. It just seems a little different. I think they're going to be all right this year. I think they. I'm not. I don't think they'll fall off that cliff like they normally do. Even if they were to lose on Sunday against the Patriots, I think they'll be all right. So they're going to be a force to reckon with in the playoffs. We definitely do not want to go down to Arrowhead Stadium for an AFC championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So the game is kind of a big deal this Sunday, really. It would be nice to get the win against them.
And I remember that was the game. Oh, shit. Hold on.
So, yeah, big game this weekend. Go Patriots. And I see we had a question in here from Chili Duncan.
Oh, he's going to be pulling for KC.
Yeah, apparently.
You guys are rivals this weekend.
Chili asked on our Facebook page at facebook.com/radioimpound, in case you didn't know. He asks, will the Chiefs beat the Patriots by 2 or 3 touchdowns Sunday night?
Ooh.
Fighting
words.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a game like the Super Bowl where both defenses, Kansas City's defense isn't that good, and neither are the Patriots. So you're going to see high-scoring game, I think, and I don't know. Hopefully we can pull it out. America's team. Hopefully we can do it. I do like Andy Reid.
Team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Patriots.
You're trying to push this agenda along.
It is America's team. It's the New England Patriots. Jeez. 5-time. Steelers have 6, but nobody likes the Steelers. They're hated. God, Steelers. Jesus.
But yeah, when's the last time the Steelers won one? Early 2000s or something?
Yeah, who knows? A legit one? I can't remember. Terry Bradshaw days.
A legit one.
So, Chili, we'll see. Good game to you. See, I like Andy Reid, so I don't really see this as like a, if we lose, it's going to be tough, but it's not going to be one of those where I'm going to be crying myself to sleep, I'll be all right. I mean, it's a big game, though. It is a big game. It is a big game. It'd be great to get it. But as Bill Belichick would say, we can't be looking towards that AFC Championship because, a reporter asked him earlier today. He said, "Does it feel like this is a big game for you guys in a possible rematch or possible matchup in the AFC Championship?" And Belichick just says, "It feels like we're playing Kansas City." How do we get on this? Oh, Spencer Rifkin. Yeah. So.
Well, I think, in all honesty, these guys try to pass off all this stuff. They know it's a big game. But they try to take the pressure off, and they try to make make it seem like it's a ho-hum deal. But,
it's a big game, no doubt about it.
It is a big game.
It's a big game. America should watch and tune in and root the Patriots on. They need all the good vibes that we can get.
Yeah, but I think this.
Coach, you feel like you're playing for the top seed in the AFC with this game, that the stakes are that big?
I feel like we're playing Kansas City.
Does it seem like a higher stakes game than normal?
Feels like we're playing Kansas City.
Guys are just jerks.
Yeah, reporters are. Okay. Spencer Rifkin won. What class did he win there?
4-wheel drive.
Yep. Good job.
And
Good job, Spencer. Patriots.
Then we sent. Our Alex K won short course. Yeah. So we had some good performances out of our guys in the stock class. Chad Eubanks and.
Chad Eubanks. Always repping and tagging the Radio Impound podcast just like Chili does.
I know.
These guys are awesome.
They are. They're great.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Going back to football real quick. How about it, Jason? I found you in the stands at the Kansas City Chiefs New England game from last year at Foxborough. I found you in the stadium.
I know, and like a whole year later too.
Yeah, it took me that long. But I actually forgot about the fan cam, where you can view every person in the stadium. And they made a post like, hey, last week they made a post like, hey, check out the fan cam and see if you could find yourself. And then you could tag yourself in there also. So I went to tag you. Like, I tagged you,
Mm-hmm.
And it puts a little Patriots emblem over your face then. But the only thing is it tied into my Facebook through it. So it has my name on that photo of you.
Interesting.
Yeah, pretty weird. But, yeah, it's cool. You can see every person. So the whole day I was like looking for Jason, and I'm like texting Jason. I'm like, okay, where were you, and so forth. And Jason's sending me photos, and I'm going through every person, and I could not find him. Here, he's behind a guy, and his face is partially showing. And you were turned looking to the left, and I could just tell it was you with the glasses and everything. So it was amazing, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
Did you say like, hey, Allison, look what Gotti did? He found me at Foxborough.
Yeah, I did show it to her, and she's just like, "This is what he did all day?"
Well, I did other things while I was doing it because my phone is portable. But,
It is portable.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool. I don't know if all the other stadiums have something like that, but Patriots do. So I couldn't find Spencer though. I guess Spencer might have got up or something.
Yeah, he would have been. Let's see. I don't know. I think he would have been to my left.
Yeah, he wasn't unless he was directly behind that guy. So
Yeah, I think that he just wasn't there at that time.
Okay. Well, interesting. So RC excitement, and I guess that's it because we were only off for 2 weeks, so not bad. Not bad for the Ripcast.
Yeah, well, there was another race over in Europe that David Runnefalk, he ended up winning the Pro Nitro class. He got second in e-buggy. Juan Carlos Canas won e-buggy. That was the Buggy Land 5.0. It was a big race. The track is awesome looking. I mean, one of the coolest tracks visually in the video. It has to be one of the coolest tracks of the year. So really cool. Then Mayfield went out to the U.S. Open Championships track in El Paso called SCRC. He drove over there. He ended up TQing and winning e-buggy. And then he TQ'd, won the semifinal in Nitro Buggy, and then he said he just had a really bad main, got third. But he said he didn't let it bum him out. Said his stuff was good, just kind of drove a bad main. Ty Tessman won the main, and Cole Ogden got second. So pretty cool. And so we had guys everywhere doing their thing. We had obviously a lot of other races going on too, but those are the ones I remember off the top of my head anyway.
Jason, this is a question from superfan Justin Jubert, a.k.a. Paul Timberman. Jason, do you think you'll be adding four-wheel drive stadium truck / truggy to the National Series?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Tough. That's tough. What we're doing at the moment is we do have our Super Cup this weekend, which is at Mills Pond, Fort Lauderdale, round 3 of the fall session. We are actually allowing guys to sign up and run that class. So I think depending on how we see things kind of materialize on the Super Cup, will determine if we add it to the National Series. I'm all for it. I'm all for doing it, but there needs to be some support for it too. It'd be nice if Techno kind of stepped up a little bit for us on the series, and maybe had one of their Matt Walter, their team manager, come out. But I think it'd be cool. It would be nice, of course, if they made if there was another truck out there, but maybe just the fact that it's simple and there's just this one Techno truck right now, maybe that has some appeal as well. But I know we asked for 10 committed guys to run the race this weekend at Mills on the Super Cup, so we'll see how that goes.
See how it goes from the head to the toes.
Well, I think it's time to call our guest. We got some great
okay.
questions, you said, so let's give him a ring. I'll get
Who do you have
the-
on the show again there, Jason?
We got Alex Sturgeon, which he's the main guy over there at the Hobby Plex.
He's the guy. He's the guy.
He is the guy over at Hobby Plex.
I was at an all-night bachelorette party, and all of a sudden, I'm the guy. Name that movie.
I don't know.
All right. I'll tell you at the end of the show. I'll let you think about it. So what's up, Alex? How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, man. We got Jason here with me.
Just doing our thing here. I bumped into a comment today. I heard that you had an interesting day at the Plex. Had some lipo stuff. Had a guy getting in your face too closely. What was going on with that?
So we had my first customer of the day was just normal retail stuff. He was one of those guys that likes to smack his lips together when he's not chewing anything, and it was right next to my ear. That started things off, and then about 4 hours later, we had somebody downstairs was charging a 4-cell, and it exploded and caused a fire, and I was running down there with the extinguisher, and yeah, busy day.
Wow.
Eventful day.
So, do you have one of those fire extinguishers? Or maybe they're all like this, where you have to pull the pin on it, and then
yeah, like a grenade.
Okay.
And I was actually all excited because I had never actually pulled a pin on anything before. So
except the body
like,
clip.
yeah, but I was like, this is cool. And then I'm like, oh shit, there's a fire.
You're like, this isn't just a routine test session, right?
Yeah. Then we had to open all the doors up, all the garage doors. We had to open up the store, the like our dock door and everything. And I brought in fans from the off-road track because it was not a good smell. It was not pleasant. But it all worked out.
Good. All right. Well, normally what we do here is we kind of ask everyone a little bit, some of their story about RC. Obviously, you can kind of, abbreviate it a little bit, but, we'll kind of build up to what you're doing right now and some of the events and things you guys have had. How did you get into RC, and just, briefly tell us kind of your climb into RC and then where you're at today.
Okay. So, it was, mid-'80s, and my buddy down the street, Chris, had a rock buster, I think is what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
And that was impressive, at the time. And so then I started buying RC car magazines. And then whenever I hear a while back, Rhonda Drake had the story of how, like, she saw the Punky Brewster episode with the RC cars.
Oh, yeah,
right.
We talked about this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the same thing, and it blew my mind. And from that moment on, it was begging my mom for an RC car for Christmas. So the first good car I got was a Tamiya Falcon, and it was like 1986 or something like that, maybe 87, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then I never touched a racetrack until 1990, and I got a JRX Pro, and that was my first, like, really good car, like race car. And then, Des Moines had 2 racetracks around that time, and Omaha didn't have any once the racetrack we did have went away, and my parents divorced, so I got to spend the weekend in Des Moines, so I'd usually race Saturday and Sunday. And then I really didn't get into anything too major, like too competitively, until I could pay for it on my own. And that was right around the mid-'90s. I went to the Stock Nats in 96 and did really not that great. And then I started going to regionals every year, and I started working myself up till, to actually make A mains. And then 99, I had actually gone to M&M Raceway for the mod nats for some reason, even though I never
99.
raced mod before.
99.
Yeah, I think it was 1999, and
Yeah,
I was in like the triple I main or something like that.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's where I would be probably. Well, slower.
Yeah, it was bad, but I came back and I won regionals in stock buggy that year, and I TQ'd and I got third in mod buggy, and I did it on slicks. Nobody had ever seen slicks before apparently, and the track, it had like rained out and the track had like gotten all it stayed super wet, and I pulled out a pair of slicks and I looked at my buddy and he looked at me and gave me a little nod, and I put them on my car and I went out there and I obliterated all the times.
Wow.
And then like right after that you could hear everybody taking a Dremel to their tires to get slicks, and then by that time the track had dried out enough so it wasn't going to matter anyways. That was a great weekend.
Jeez.
And then I went to then I started around that time I was sending resumes to Losi all the time, and I was getting turned down constantly. Thanks, Richard. And then
jerk.
then I made the
Richard
A-main
Trujillo. We'll say Richard Trujillo.
Yeah, I made the A-main in stock truck at the Cactus in 2000, and I made the A-main in stock buggy at the Winter Champs in Florida in 2001.
Wow.
And I thought that was going to be it. I was like, this is it. I've finally come. And I still didn't get any sponsorships and stuff. And so I was all depressed and kind of a little upset, and I sold everything. And then my buddy, the same guy who winked at me for the slicks, said I should keep my radio and buy an Associated car instead. So I dropped everything and I bought Associated stuff. And then in 2004, I finished second at the Stock Nats and finally got accepted for a sponsorship from Associated at that time.
Oh, see.
And yeah, and then a couple years later, I got invited to be on the Team Losi team finally, which, nothing against Team Associated, but being a TLR driver was like my dream because, Matt Francis and Kinwald, although we're all kind of back and forth nowadays, but that's what I always wanted to be. So I had been a TLR driver from 2006, and then last year I was kind of getting at that point again where I was not having a lot of fun, and I felt like I needed a change, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to drop everything. The only sponsorship I kept was from J Concepts.
Oh.
And I've had a pretty good time this year. I've had a lot of fun. I own 4 different brands of cars. So
wow. This year you have 4 different ones?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Fun.
Well, how did you get into explain kind of the Hobbyplex, Hobbytown setup there? I know Gotti and I were talking about it earlier, but for people that haven't been to that location, pretty impressive. I want to say it's like kind of the Hobbytown's like, I don't know if it's your premier store or it's their, I forget what the right word is, but it's like your, talk to us about how you got into that and what things kind of look like there.
Okay. So Omaha has had off-road tracks off and on, but never anything that was sustainable. And in the year 2000, when our last indoor track closed, we had nowhere to go for off-road. And right around that time, parking lot was really big and was picking up even more with like C3 and stuff like that. And so I actually started running the outdoor off-road track in Lincoln to just try and have some sort of off-road presence here in eastern Nebraska. At the same time, the other manager here, Tim, he was really building up the parking lot program from the Hobbytown that was here in Omaha. And eventually the turnout and it basically talked to the owner of this Hobbytown into saying, all right, I'm tired of paying rent. Let's see if we can build something. And, the owner of this place, he's kind of behind the scenes. He's not a hobby guy. He's not into the hobby at all. It's just his business. That's what he does. He's got other hobbies, but, he keeps them to himself and everything. You don't see him with like new vets or anything like that. He's been driving the same truck for almost 15 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He worked really, really hard to get backers and loans to be able to build this. And originally, it was just the big Hobbytown sales floor, and then we had a really nice big indoor carpet track. And once this place opened up in 2004, you know, I was racing here. I was racing my HPI RS4-3 or whatever it was, you know, at the time. And I was actually working at the meat counter at a supermarket, and we talked about hiring me here. And in December of 2004, about 9 months after this place opened up, they hired me as an assistant manager, and part of my job was to build an off-road track in Omaha. So I stopped running the Lincoln track and came up here full time, spent all my time here, and then, you know, 2005 or so, that's when 8 scale was really coming on big, and
Right.
so we had a 200 by 100 foot monstrosity racetrack, and we didn't actually own the land. So in 2007, we moved to the land we did own, which was where the dirt track now is. And then in 2009, after we held the Roarnats, the owner of this place, we had basically gotten rained on the entire 2 weeks beforehand, so it made it hard to build the track. I got the track built, and then the Tuesday before practice was supposed to start, it rained like 5 inches in an hour and just totally gullied the track out. And luckily we were able to get the race in, but that Sunday, you know, he's like, all right, man. And he's breathing real heavy. He's like, we're going to put a roof on this. And I was like, really? Are you sure you want to do that? Okay. And so he kind of went back to what he does, and a couple years later we got the funding, and the Plex off-road track was built in 2011. So my official title here is I'm one of 2 store managers, and I'm also the off-road race director. So the other guy, Tim, he runs all the on-road stuff, and I do all the off-road stuff.
So, kind of going back through some of the events you've had there at the Plex, what are some of the highlighted events that you've had there? I guess ones that you either really liked or just liked being a part of, or maybe, you know, I think to the nationals you've had there, the Roar Nationals, you've had several there, but, you know, any ones that, all the events, you know, we ran several of our events there. You know, what stands out to you over the time?
Yeah. So once we went in, I mean, we used to hold RC Pro Series races when it was outside, and that was always a lot of fun because it was kind of there were only 3 races, so you got the same group of guys to come all the time. But there's nothing like getting rained out at those things. You get all these people here, and then everybody gets all bummed out. So,
Yep.
Once we went indoor, we held some of Scotty's showdown races, and those were always really good. Your indoor national series finals, I think the 2014 and 15 versions of those were really good races, and I really enjoyed those. The track sucked the first year, and that was on me, and that was actually when we decided to move the dirt oval a little bit more off to the side so we could more make like a true off-road track instead of trying to make compromises, you know?
Right.
I didn't like the 2013 layout at all. I was afraid you weren't going to give us the race anymore. So, 14 and 15 are really good. The Roarnats in 2016 was so far probably our best well-attended off-road race. When we did the Novak race, though, I mean, we had over 300 entries for that one year, and
I remember
that race was a lot of fun too. It was nice having Bob Novak, you know, come for that, and everybody got to hang out and talk to him, and that was really good. The Roar stuff is fun to do, but it's a lot of work, and right now I'm the only one doing the work, so it'll probably be a while before we put in for any of those ever again.
Okay.
Till I can find some help.
Good to
Good
know. Right. Well, you also have a lot of, kind of local series type events and, things. I noticed you just had an event over the weekend. I noticed you I don't know if this was last week, you made a post about how you started an independent class, which is something we, obviously have on some of our race series. And I believe you were mentioning that you were happy with how things were going there. So talk about some of your local stuff.
So, we've done a summer series since 2005. And, back then it was both nitro and electric. We had, like 3 nitro classes or 4 nitro classes. And then we'd have only like 4 or 5 electric classes back then. When we went indoor, it became apparent that the nitro side of things wouldn't do as well in the summertime now because we are indoor technically, even though we've got all these garage doors that open up. When summer comes around, there's a lot more places to race your 8-scale stuff. And these guys, they don't want to work on their car every week, it seems like. So, a lot of times they'll save all that maintenance and stuff for a bigger race. So we made it 10 scale in the summertime once a month. And then in the wintertime, we actually have our 8-scale Techno Winter Series that's been sponsored by Techno the last 3 years that runs from November through March. And it's kind of opposite of what you would think, but it works out really well for us. It guarantees a good turnout at least once a month for almost, the entire year. And our summer series is sponsored by Team Associated and Reedy for 5 years now. This was the 5th season, I believe. And it's kind of what all of us 10-scale guys kind of look forward to. We club race all winter long, and then we all get ready to really focus on those summer series races. And it's kind of the opposite with the 8-scale side. After everybody's outdoor season is over, they kind of look forward to that once a month get together in the wintertime. And then for club racing, we've done it before. Basically just wanted to have a class of stock that no sponsored guys were allowed to run. Just regular people. And a majority of our racers right now are regular people. There's a handful of us that have had sponsors or are sponsored, but most of our local racers, they don't even care about any of that stuff mostly. They just want to come and run. So this year I've kind of done it where in the past we've done handout motors or handout tires or control tires. And this year I just said, okay, just no sponsors. That's the only requirement. Let's see what you got. And last week for regionals, it was the biggest class. We had 21 entries in that. And I was really excited by that because a lot of the locals decided to race.
Yeah, that's growth there.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
So, kind of going into a little bit on the, what's the plans that you got for the future and, maybe kind of dwindling down in this year. We're kind of getting to the end of 2018, but that's usually kind of good for hobby stores and the hobby in general when we get closer to the holidays. What do you see it looking like in the shop and, kind of building into the end of the year and getting into next year?
Well, we kind of have a set schedule for all of our big races that we have. Our annual 10-scale race is at the end of April, always. It used to be the Novak race. Then it was the TLR Cup one year. This year we just called it the Hobby Plex race, and I'm trying to locate another title sponsor for that one. We usually have an 8-scale race somewhere in there. For the winter time, we also do carpet off-road, and this year it's just going to be short. We're just going to start after our Christmas break and go through March, and I'll probably keep points for that. And then we usually finish it with what I call it the crash in, because on carpet off-road we all seem to crash more. So that our like end of the year or end of the season carpet race is like March 23rd. I don't expect to get anything more than 100 entries or less for that, which is perfectly fine with me for that. Carpet's a different thing. You get some guys that are just hate it. And then you get other guys that are looking forward to it, and they're actually kind of bummed that we're starting later than we did last year. Around here, we kind of tend to tone things down a little bit around the holidays because we do have a limited staff. And so I do like to spend more time on the sales floor to try and get us good sales, so we can stay open, So, but next year should be good. There's nothing too huge planned for next year so far, but you never know. We're looking at probably a dirt oval race, hopefully Memorial Day weekend, and then of course our summer series will be back. So that's about it. It'll be nice to have a year where it's not super stressful, put it that way.
Okay.
Hey, you were mentioning earlier that you in the triple I main at the what race was that again?
The 99 Mod Nats at M&M.
99 Mod Nats. Now I've been to races where I was in the P main and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I always took away something from that race. What did you take away from going to there? And you learn anything?
Oh, heck yeah. So that was the first time I'd ever seen anybody really race on slicks before. That was at M&M Hobbies in Corona, California.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, the jumps were way bigger back then than what I was used to running on. And what I try to tell, even my kid's 11 years old, and he's not like me. He's not super competitive about this stuff. He just kind of shows up and races at the track because I do. But even then, we do go to travel and races together. And if he's not doing as well, I just tell him, I'm like, dude, you're still learning something from the experience. I think all those years I spent traveling in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s, I went to a lot of different places, and I didn't do very good or as good as I thought I could have. But to me, I felt like it was to get all that valuable information from all these different track surfaces and the different talent levels that you were racing with eventually would pay off. And I think, especially now that I'm older, I don't feel as challenged. Like if I go to Fastlane in Kansas City to race 10 skill on their off-road track, I am actually super happy about it and prepared for it because I've raced on that surface before. You get some of these kids who are really fast indoor, and you get them on an outdoor track, which is pretty rare nowadays. They're clueless for the first couple of days, and eventually they get it. But it's those experiences that set you up so you can travel and go to different places and actually know what to adjust on your car or not be so hyped up on making huge changes. Maybe the track will come to you because you know that you've seen that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's important to travel, on different surfaces.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, the only thing I learned was not to travel away from my local track. Okay. No, but I always took away something from the races, so.
Yeah. I cleaned Team Losi out of rear motor guards at 99 Nats.
Oh.
Did you have?
Double X?
Okay, so you ran a double X. You didn't have a triple X.
Yeah, remember Kinwald had the triple X, and there was only a handful of them there at that race. It was the first race where it debuted, and I was there with my piddly, crickety old double X, and I'd never gone over jumps that big before, so I was landing basically on the motor plate all the time. And I remember Team Losi Richard had to go back to headquarters to actually get more of them that hadn't even been drilled out yet. He just handed them out and was like, here, drill a hole here and drill a hole here.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was also at that race, and I actually chose not to race because I was kind of working in the business there, and I was helping different drivers, and Mark Pavitas who was the guy that we were trying to help, and
Yeah.
that was a interesting race. Very difficult for somebody to come out of town and compete at that track because of the local racers. And I mean, I lived out there then, so I knew what it was like to race at that track. And I had some success there here and there, but man, was that a tough track to try to beat a handful of people at.
Yeah, I made the D main in mod 4-wheel drive, and in the middle of the race, I remember they had this big tabletop, and then like a little chicane, and then you went the other way over another big jump, and they had this big mound that was the corner, and they painted it white. You weren't supposed to go over it. You were supposed to go around it, and it had dried out, and so it had this giant crack in it, and I sent my double X4 over this jump, and the front end of it, the right front tire, wedged into the crack and ripped the whole side of my double X4 off.
Wow.
And that was the end of my weekend. I was like, ugh.
Is that on video?
No, I wish. That'd be cool. They didn't have stuff like that back then. You had to wait for the associated videos back then.
Oh, yes. We were just talking about them earlier.
And what's funny about all this conversation is we also just posted a throwback video that I found at my house last night of Cavallari racing the 2006 Hot Rod Shootout. And I know Rich was in charge of trying to put the video up for us, and he's just like, at first he's like, I couldn't even get it to convert to do anything. He's like, then I found a program that I could install and it would convert the video, and he's like, this must have been a cell phone video or something back then. I'm like, it was 2006. There was no cell phone videos.
Yeah.
And he was like,
baby.
he's like, yeah, that's right. He goes, this was, and I think what it was is a digital camera, but it had the video function.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember where you get the...
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little bit of a squirrely video from the quality standpoint, but it's pretty funny. And I mean, I got still quite a few videos at home of that type of stuff, and I'm looking at it just thinking, man, the quality on this stuff is horrible.
Yeah. There's some videos of the 2004 stock nets on YouTube from my main event that I've watched a few times. And they got that like fuzzy line going through them because they've been converted, and it's fun to go back and watch that. And like for some reason in I think in A2 and A3 I had mismatched wheels. I had like yellow fronts and white rears.
Nice.
Total Gomer.
Yeah, it's a shame that we don't have like clear video like today, like 4K and all that stuff, like of races back then,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because today it's everything's crystal clear. Though I wonder, Jason, will it be crystal clear in 30 years?
I think it will.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember looking at videos back then thinking, "Oh, this is horrible quality."
Well, I agree. I remember people sending me emails, of our original BJ4 video, trying to tell me how to set up the car, and I'm like, I think about it now, and I watch the same video, and I'm like, how can he even see the car in this video? Like, it just looks like this blur blob driving around.
Yeah, but you didn't think about that back then.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. So we got some sent in questions, right, Gotti?
Yeah, here's a question from Chris. For a local hobby shop owner without an on-site track, what other steps or means of promoting can they do? And also, what are your successful promotions or community-related activities to draw in new customers or create visibility in the community?
Okay. Well, when we first started doing this, I would go and I'd post. This was a while ago now, but I would make flyers and then I'd go post them like at the local supermarket on their bulletin boards and stuff. That was, back when this, like 05, 06, when we didn't have as much social media or any social media.
Yeah.
Other than RC Tech, I think what I would do when we were getting this thing going was you get the flyer made and then I used to go on all the boards like RC Tech and Hobby Talk and even Trinity Tech Talk when it was still around. And I would go into the race forums and I'd post the flyer and then I'd post pictures of the track and I'd when we did start getting YouTube, I used to catch all the cool YouTube videos that we had and I'd post those too, just to try and get people who have never seen this place to at least see it and want to come for these races and stuff. And I think that's changed now with social media, obviously. It's probably a little bit easier, but also at the same time a little bit harder because I'm not sure who actually sees a lot of the stuff that I put out. I put out weekly. I try to make funny memes and say, when our doors open or what race is coming up. And I have a Google calendar through my Google Gmail account that I list all of our stuff, and I try to stay 6 months ahead or so on that.
Wow.
That we direct all of our customers to. Obviously, I'm always I have flyers for our weekly racing, right up front so that new customers can take it. Whenever somebody buys a vehicle from us, they get a free race, or they can also use it as a practice pass, either one, whatever they choose. It helps to have, and this was really important to me when I first started doing this up here. I think it's really important to have a really good beginner class and a way to not scare people off. So we only charge $5 for our beginner class. We call it Plex Spec, and there's nothing spec about it. I just tell people, well, how do I get in? I said, you just show up. That's all you got to do. Just show up, and we'll get racing. And I run those races heads up so that they're actually racing every single time. And I don't put any age restriction, no motor restriction. I don't care what kind of car they have. I just want people to show up. And I attribute that to being able to recycle a lot of racers. So I have noticed over the years now that as your kids get older, 13, 14, as soon as they get old enough to talk to girls or get a real car or go to college and get a job, they stop racing a lot. So you always need to freshen yourself with new kids. Not all of them will stick around, and come to the track every week. So having a beginner class and starting them as young as you can is a good way to just keep a track around. I've also done stuff. We've in the past we've done like these crawler demos at some of our like gun shows and stuff like that. And this summer we sponsored our local mountain bike racing series, and I took an easy up and a bunch of pipe, and I made like a square track, and I brought our carpet jumps, and we had like 5 or 6 demo cars for people to just come over and use. And to be honest with you, I don't know if that's translated into customers, but we got a lot of kids and their parents to come over and try it and check it out and everything. So
yeah.
We're always hustling. That's the thing. We're a big store, and we have a lot of bills to pay, and so we're always trying. There's not a day that goes by where I'm not thinking about new stuff I can do to get new people into the hobby, new people into our store, new people to the track. We have a rock crawler course. We do dirt oval here. We're going to do this. We're going to do indoor Rocket League with RC cars here in a little bit.
Wait. Oh, is this a playoff of Rocket League, the video game?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite games.
it's super fun with RC cars because you just line up a couple slashes and just go at it. It's super fun. So we're going to try to do that on its own night. We do indoor tiny whoop racing here. We're always trying to stay busy and just try to have people come out every day for stuff.
Jason, Rocket League is RC cars meets soccer.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll have a video up on our YouTube channel, the Hobby Plex show, as soon as
That's your YouTube channel?
yeah,
Hobby
as soon
Plex
as we
show?
can.
Okay.
Yeah, the Hobby Plex show.
Sweet. Yeah. Interesting. You play Rocket League?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I have played it.
Well,
My son-
Alex has a job, Gotti. He can't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I have played it with my son, but to be honest with you, man.
Well, how'd you come up with the
video
idea? Yeah.
Well, it's actually the owner's idea. The owner and his son.
Gotcha.
They were talking to some of their friends, and they were saying how their kids all play Rocket League. And they're like, well, we could do that with RC cars. That sounds like something we could try to do. And so we they actually went out and they built this arena, and we're going to have these banners up, and we think it'll make a pretty good like video as well. So it should be fun. As soon as they get going, we need like these slow days, which we don't like, of course, but to spend some time down there and get it all together.
Hobby Plex show on YouTube.
Yep, the Hobby Plex show.
All right.
All right, keep going with this question. I'll be right back.
Where are you going? Yeah, he's right back. He probably has to run home or something. All right, here's something from Joe Zera. He says he doesn't have a question this week for you, but he says I just want to say that the Plex has been my favorite place to race since 2005. And he mentions also, can you get black carpet?
Well,
he's laughing out loud on that.
I know. He comes down a lot for the Winter Series 8-scale races. But also our on-road track right now, we don't have black carpet. Black carpet's the good CRC carpet that
gotcha.
has Mondo traction in it without running a lot of cars. And
is that Ozite? Is that what that is?
It's basically. But from what I understand, I've never actually seen it in person yet. But from what I understand, it's threaded different and it's made of a slightly different material. So it creates a lot more traction than the gray Ozite ever did.
Oh, so it's a new updated version.
Yeah. The problem is we just bought carpet. I mean, it feels like we just bought carpet in 2014. And, we got carpet in 2004, and in 2008 when we held the carpet nats, right before that, we were always told when we were trying to get all these guys to come out for our carpet races that we were holding, we were always told, your carpet sucks, blah, blah, blah. So we said, okay, 2008, we got the Roar Nats. We bought new carpet, and we rolled it out, and it was a really bad batch of carpet. Oh. It was worse than what we had. And so we had to live with that for a little while. And in 2014, when we got the Nats again, it had been 6 years. So we're like, all right. So we bought the IIC carpet from Scotty. And we're like, okay, if anybody has any problem with this carpet, then they're full of it because they just raced on this carpet in Vegas. So, I don't know what to tell them.
Right.
And that carpet's been good. Well, now, like 2 years later, they came out with the black carpet. Well, we're not going to be able to get the owner to spend that much money to replace carpet again that soon after we already bought new carpet.
Yeah.
So
it's only been 4 years.
And our on-road turnouts, quite honestly, haven't been there to
justify that. Yeah.
Justify the cost. So a couple more years we'll probably be fine. If we could do it next year, we might. But it's just one of those things. We can't keep spending money on carpet when we've been told before, if you get carpet, all these people will show up, and we're like, we've heard that before.
Yeah, and then they don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually we will, but just not yet.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Well, thanks for that question.
Thanks, Joe Zaire.
In the garbage that goes. John Bolton says, Alex, can you please everyone? Also, am I too old to race? Is
Nice.
John Bolton too old to race?
John Bolton's not too old to race.
See that, John? You're not old.
And then
you have a 60 over class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How old's John?
It's impossible to please everyone. You can't do it. The same people complain about the same stuff, so it is.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
What are you going to say, Jason?
I don't know. I was just going to reiterate that it is hard to please everybody.
This is from Chili Duncan. You know Chili Duncan? You ever heard of him?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Well, Chili had a question earlier. Do you follow football, Alex? Are you a Patriots fan? America's team?
I wait around every year for Supercross season.
Oh, okay. Well,
and in the interim, I follow women's beach volleyball very closely.
That beach volleyball, though, I think that's got something.
Yeah, that has something.
And the Cornhuskers are 0-5, so I don't really care about college football this year either.
Yeah, what's with them, man? Jeez.
Rebuild year, man. Coming.
Didn't they used to be like the model franchise, or the model team,
90s.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
You did not want to play them, especially in Nebraska. Where was I? Oh, Chili's question. With the announcement of RCGP earlier this year, and even the newer idea of RC National Series, is this movement necessary to help grow the RC side of racing to broader audiences? Or is it more complicated than that? Other things have to change, like less classes. Do other things have to change, like less classes? Heads-up racing, which I agree with that. Heads-up racing. Or more realistic-looking vehicles.
I'd be open to being part of the whatever, national type series as long as it's legit. I do think some sort of national points thing would be good so that we can track our progress if that's what we're into. It's tough to grow this hobby without being. You just got to. It's just all about exposure, and you got to have the exposure, I think, in the right spots too. I remember being in high school and trying to tell my journalism friends what I did and what I spent all my money on, and they would just be like, that's stupid. Why are you doing that? Oh my God, that's dumb. And if you try to advertise, if you try to show off and advertise, RC car racing at this is an extreme example, but an ice dancing competition somewhere, you're not going to get those people that are going to be like, oh, rad, that's awesome, we should do that. I think you gotta incorporate it into actual real life motorsports too, because I think those people get it. Even my mountain biking, I really like to ride my mountain bike when it's not raining, and even a lot of my mountain bike friends, some of them get it because they like to race their mountain bike, but the ones who buy the expensive mountain bike to have it, even those guys would rather spend their money on mountain bike parts rather than RC car stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think finding the right markets and stuff to expose RC is a good way to go if you can somehow integrate it into motorsports events. That's why, Traxxas is, their margins suck, but at least they're going out and they're exposing the hobby to, monster truck fans and motorcycle and funny car and that sort of thing, because I think it's easier to get those people to understand, you know, and want to spend their money on that stuff rather than having it in the wrong place. You understand what I'm trying to say, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
So a national series would be awesome, especially if we can get it. If we can, it's great to have it at tracks like this, like we have here at the Plex for sure, because we have a really nice facility. But to broaden the hobby, you know, we have to have races that are as exciting as ours can be in places where people can see more of them. You know, we used to have an Iowa State Fair race in Iowa every year, and that used to get tons of people to watch. And you know, not all of them would probably get it, but a lot of them, you know, were just, it was amazing. And you'd have people clap and cheer for their favorite car, and you know, they didn't even care what main it was. They just saw the races. What was the other part of that question?
I think you pretty much got it.
Well, you think you need to go to less classes or go to a heads-up style racing or more realistic-looking vehicles to draw more people in?
I like heads-up racing. We do that on Tuesday nights for all classes, and then we do all of our beginner racing heads-up, because I've found that qualifying can be confusing for people.
Yep.
They're like, well, why are we starting like this? Why don't we just all go? And it's like, well, you're trying to qualify and blah 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 blah, and a lot of the new people, they just want to show up and race. A lot of them don't even stick around for the main. They get their 2 races in or whatever, and then they leave even before their main if it gets too late. They just want to race. So I love heads-up racing. The problem with heads-up racing and the really big events, you know, that we like to do is how do you separate it? How do you separate everybody from the start? You know, I think that's the hard part. I had this idea where you could take, like, you could try to limit it to like 30 people, just like they do at the Reedy race, I guess. And for like a national event, you have a series, like say 3 races, and then you have those 30 drivers that go to each one, and they race heads up, and then everybody else, you know, races in qualifying and mains like we normally do. So there's the cool thing about going to the Reedy race is that that's your entertainment. You get to watch the best, you know, duke it out every single round. And then the rest of us piddly guys, we go and we try to qualify so that we can get to that point. You know, I'd like to see that on some sort of national scale. I think that could be exciting in a way to kind of market it as almost like a spectator thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Reedy race really is exciting. I mean, I like going to the Reedy race when I can get in, just to watch that, you know. If I had the money, I'd go anyways just to watch. I wouldn't even care about racing. But that's me. As far as classes go, you know, I've kind of had I used to hate how many nitro classes there were: sportsman, intermediate, pro, expert, blah 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 blah. 40 plus sportsman, 40 plus, you know, whatever. I've had a little change of heart of that, because I got to announce the King of Kings race at State Line this year, and they weren't going to have me do anything on practice day, and I'm like, well, I got to do something. So I went up and was actually taking all the entries, and you know, these guys were coming up and signing up for 2 buggy classes, and then if they were over 40, they'd be like, oh, there's a 40 plus electric class. Oh shoot! And they just hand over another $20. And I'm like, that's a really okay. I kind of get it now. From a track standpoint, it sucks to have more classes because you got to spend the money on the trophies and the time it takes to get through the day. But on the other hand, it lets you take more entries too. So it's a trade-off, I guess. So, you know, from a racer, sometimes having having a gazillion classes can suck because you're just in the pits more. But but at the same time, if you can pick up another class or two, then you're not as bored during the day. And then from a promoter standpoint, I guess having that many classes just kind of guarantees you're going to get the kind of turnout you would need to be able to even put on the race. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on the classes thing.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it like that. I always felt it was just too many classes out there today compared to back when we raced. But
oh yeah,
that's a good way to look at it.
I still think there is, but I think that's where also you could if there's some sort of
take advantage of it.
National series. Yeah, if there's some sort of national series where you had just mod 2-wheel drive and mod 4-wheel drive be your entertainment, and those guys race for a heads-up style national title, and then you have the rest of us guys, qualifying in the main or whatever. I think it could still work that way.
Well, that's a little bit what we do on our national series is we actually have a we run the modified guys. We kind of view it like 2-wheel and 4-wheel as the premier class for spectate, for watching. And then so we do triple mains, and then the other classes have longer single mains. But yeah, that's kind of the concept that we have doing what we're doing, and of course we have that independence class for stock, buggy, which is the no sponsor thing, and we have had success with that setup.
Yeah, I copied it for our regional race last weekend. We had triple mains for 2-wheel mod and 4-wheel mod, and everybody else had a 8-minute single A main.
Oh,
yeah,
it was fun.
Let's see, what we got? Any other questions here?
You'll be getting a letter from Jason's lawyer copying his format. Here's one for Jason. Will J Concepts release the bead lock rings for the tribute wheels?
Yes, probably going to be next week. Thought it was going to be this week, but we're still kind of
so they're right around the corner. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go,
good.
Pete. They're almost here. Hang in there, buddy.
Monster trucks are cool.
Well, we were talking about it at the beginning of the show, and just it's a different type of racing, and it's a different type. But it has a little bit of the scale aspect to it, where if you want to emulate a real truck or something, you can work on a scale side of it, and then there's the racing part of it. So it does have. There's some stuff intertwined going on there.
Yeah. We've held a couple monster truck events on our carpet this summer, and then I think they're going to do more on our dirt oval area over the winter time. Our next one's October 21st, Sunday.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some cool things that can be done there, and I think people would definitely get into it. We were talking about earlier that I think people in general look, or an RC racer or a racer looks at an RC monster truck and they kind of think it's like they're low on the totem pole in terms of the coolness of being a racer. But when I've done it, it does have some appeal that I think people that race other RC cars would really enjoy because it's different. And to me, I like all RC cars. Like, I'll race anything.
Yeah.
And I know you're kind of the same way. And there's some people that are hardcore one way or another. But for me, like, if you tell me we're going to race Mini Coopers, I'll race Mini Coopers. Like, it's like if you tell me we're going to race dirt oval, I'll race dirt oval. Like, it doesn't, like, I just like RC cars, and I can get into it, on road, all these different things. If we're going to drag race, tell me, I'll try to drag race. But I just like them all, and I like trying to make it look good. I like the side of it that you can make it look the way that you want it to look, and when people look at it, they can tell that you either know what you're doing or you have a sense of pride in how it looks. And I think to me, that's what's fun about it.
Yeah, that side of the hobby with especially with like crawling, that's what I always liked about rock crawling was I could do stuff to my truck that nobody else could, has done before. I bent my own length. I modified a part to make it fit. It was really fun and cool to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of went in really strange directions overall, and with all the different kind of cars we've had. We've went down that road of, you had to do it all yourself and know how to work on it and do everything, start to finish. Then we went through the phase where it had to be all done for everybody, and it was an RTR, and that was the only way we were going to sell cars. It had to be done for everybody, and then we're into the scale stuff where people don't mind doing everything themselves again, and it's just we're like in this real weird, cycle. But it almost seems like the people that are when you're into it for the vehicles and you're into it for the tinkering and doing things yourself, those are the long-term guys.
Yeah.
The guys that will stick it out, that'll keep doing it. The people that are into it just so it's an RTR and that, they buy everything done, I think those are our short-term guys. And appealing to the people that have that sense of they want to do it themselves and build it, and that might be the part that we kind of miscalculated in the early to mid 2000s and all the RTR stuff, and getting back to doing it yourself, and maybe that's part of some things that we're missing there.
Yeah, I've really tried to make us a good crawler store, and we carry a lot of tires and a lot of upgrades and a lot of different fail stuff and bumpers and all that stuff. And when the monster truck stuff was coming on, it was kind of the same group of guys that kind of broke off and started doing that too. So that's why I started carrying more of those upgrades and all your wheels and tires and bodies and stuff. There's guys in here almost twice a week buying new bodies, different bodies for their trucks.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. That's what I've talked to some guys about. Is there's always that next truck you're trying to build, and you finish one and you're like, oh, I really like the way this one turned out, and then right away you're like, all right, so now the next one I want to do, and then you get it done, and it's either the way you want it or it's not, and then you can try it in a competition, and then you can say it's like a goal, and then you finish that one, and then you're like, okay, so now what's next? And that's what's kind of cool about it.
Yep.
So anyway, so you want to give good to give a shout out here to everyone that's involved in the Plex and your racing, or anyone you want to give a shout out to?
My wife, she won't listen to this, but I guess I think the Hobby Plex has a large group of racers that really enjoy coming here and are really happy, and it makes for a nice environment to race in. So to all those guys, of course, I always try to say thank you. I try not to be a dick to everybody, so I really appreciate them coming out because it keeps me employed, and I'd much rather be here than at a meat counter at a supermarket or something like that, or anywhere else. Tim,
that's where Gotti works, by the way. He works at a meat counter.
Do you really?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute,
dude. I used to cut some mean steak, dude. That's what I was doing.
Omaha steaks?
No. Well, I mean, no, but here in Omaha, yeah, of course. Okay. But no, Tim Ski, he's the guy who agreed to hire me back then. So of course, he's still here. He's the on-road guy, and he's the general manager here. So, he's a great guy and puts in a lot of time and a lot of effort into this as well. Of course, our owner, he works so hard behind the scenes. I mean, nobody sees how hard the guy works, but he works so hard to make the deals and to pay the bills and to keep this place open and to keep it, at least profitable enough to stay open. So, nobody probably even can recognize him, but he works so hard for this place, and he deserves all the credit for making the jump to build it initially, and then to build this, stupid big dirt off-road track, So, I mean, that's about it. My son Emerson, he's 11. He's an 11-year-old, so he's into all sorts of stuff. He's great to have around when he races, and when he doesn't want to race, I'm fine with that. He can stay home and do whatever. The guys that come here every week, like Will Brinton, he's awesome. He's willing to stop everything he's doing to help me if I need it, or to help anybody else that's around with their cars or with their tire setup or whatever. There's always guys to help.
Actually, Will wrote into the show here. He says, what time does practice start? And also, do you have that $1 you owe me?
Yeah, I probably borrowed more than $1 from him. Probably owe him more than that. The what time does practice start thing? So I go out of my way to make these flyers, like these beautiful, awesome race flyers with all this information that's listed clearly on the flyer that says exactly when we open and exactly when we close on race days, and you'll still get, what time does practice start tomorrow? And I'm like, dude, it's 7. You've raced here for 8 years. It's always been 7.
Jason, too long, didn't read.
Yeah. We get the same kind of questions. I know I've asked similar questions too, but it's like the whole, like, what time's the 10 o'clock show?
Yeah. Yeah. But as a nice guy and as the right kind of race director, I don't like get all pissed off. I'm like, nope, we open at 7. It's fine. It's fine. And then I'll go back to my pit and I'll be like, God damn it, these people are hard.
You have to make that in bold print, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't know if that's about it.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, go for it. I cut you off.
He said, what is your favorite oval class?
Dude, mine's sprint car, baby.
Hey, you guys got those 18 scale sprint cars in?
No.
Have you seen them?
I have seen them. There's already a dealer in town, so we were told when we called that we can't get them because there's already a dealer somewhere else.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's what we said. We said, what? So that's the honest answer, right? We haven't gotten them in stock yet because we don't have a dealer account because they said there's already a dealer close to us.
Okay. No, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw them on Facebook. I was like, it's pretty interesting looking. And,
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
I've seen them. They brought them in. A couple guys own them. They brought them in here. They're really neat. We'd love to sell them. So if those guys are listening and they want to sell more of them, they could call us at 402-498-8888, and we'll be happy to carry them.
That would be a good idea, by the way, for them.
Yeah, I would think so. That's one. Is it One Up Racing or something like that? That has those sprint cars. Yeah. And where can we find Hobbyplex on the social medias? You got the YouTube.
Okay. On YouTube, I just started a Hobbyplex YouTube channel. It's called the Hobbyplex Show. I plan on having eventually like an actual 15 to 20 minute studio type show where we talk about just pretty much anything hobby related. We're actually going to be doing that through local public access, and then once it runs on there, then I get the digital copy and I can upload it to YouTube. So
that's cool. That's a good way.
Yeah, that'll be coming eventually.
Yeah.
For now, I'm just trying to do 2-3 minute, videos. I've done some intros to our racing. I've done some racer spotlights. I'm doing a weekly what's new now for the store, and I'm trying to do like unboxings and stuff like that when new stuff comes in, especially when it's exciting, new stuff that people will actually want to come by.
Yeah.
On Facebook, you can just search Hobbyplex. We actually have our main Hobbyplex, Hobbytown Hobbyplex page, and then I've got a couple of sub pages for our race nights, for Family Friday Off-Road and the Saturday Speed Off-Road and our Dirt Oval page, and then we've got a couple for our series races that we do and a couple for our big races that we have. So, they don't always get updated year-round, just when we get close to those events. But they're pretty easy to find. And I think we have an Instagram account, but I haven't used it yet. That's on me.
Oh.
And that's probably about it.
And they can contact you directly on, you got Twitters and stuff?
Yeah, I can't even remember what my Twitter thing is. Twitter is a pit of awfulness that I don't like to go on anymore.
I don't know. I don't like Twitter either.
I get a lot of instant messages through Facebook at about midnight sometimes.
Oh yeah.
That's a good way to get a hold of me. And of course, you can always call the store or email the store or message the store, whatever.
Yeah.
It all comes through my phone, so I look at it and go, okay, and I answer it.
What time's practice start?
Yeah.
I appreciate you being on the show for episode 181, and I got a for being on episode 181. I got a trip here for you for 2. It's a 2-day, 1-night stay at beautiful Camden, New Jersey.
Whee! I miss New Jersey. The last time I went to New Jersey, I came back with a New Jersey accent.
You did?
I did. I was a part of the RMT for a roar race at Jackson, New Jersey, and there wasn't much for me to do because I was a scorekeeper, and all these people had New Jersey accents, and then there was this like bagel and waffle place right down the street that I went every morning, and there was like legit like New Jersey gold chain wearing Yankees hat guys, and I hung around them all week, and I was flying back, and I was like, how you doing? And I was like, holy shit, I just did that. And
I never heard anybody say they miss Jersey, but okay.
What's that MTV, that awful MTV show? Oh, so okay, funny story before you let me go. I'm sorry, but okay. At the end of it, we were driving around on Sunday night or something like that because I think it got rained out or something like that, or no, it didn't. That was the day before. Anyways, it doesn't matter. And we passed by Jersey Shore Gynecology, and I thought it was the funniest thing I'd seen in a really long time.
Gotti actually used to work there.
Oh.
I had to stop and take my flip phone and get a picture of it.
Flip phone.
Flipped it.
How long ago was this?
Yeah, it's 2013. I think I still had a flip phone.
Oh, really? I was going to say 2013.
Yeah, I didn't get a cool phone until after the first Reedy race I went to, when I realized that if I was going to do that again, I had to get a cool phone.
Yeah, my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, there you have it.
Okay.
Alex Sturgeon, everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Alex. Awesome job, and I always love going to the Plex. Enjoyed the Nats this year too, and
Yeah.
Well, what do you got going on there, Jason? You got something coming up soon?
well, we have a yearly race there called the 1/8 Spring Nationals that we've been talking about making it an oval race.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
okay.
So that is on the schedule for next year.
Plus, Jason sponsors quite a few of our races anyway, so he's one of our original. I call them house sponsors, just companies that have been there pretty much from the start when we really got going. So we really appreciate it, all the time.
Yeah, I definitely love going there. It's easy to fly in, easy to get to the track. Hotels across the street. We know where everything is, and yeah, I was easy.
Got a Starbucks nearby for Jason?
Not really.
Jason, how do you survive that?
What was that now?
Starbucks. How do you survive with no Starbucks?
Oh no, there's one down there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you get on.
It's about 10 minutes away.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Okay. Very good.
I'm trying to think of the name of the exit. The exit where the track and the hotel is, it's like 2 exits down.
Maple?
No, the one after Maple.
Oh, it's Dodge. Yeah, it's the Dodge Expressway.
Yeah, when you get off on Dodge.
Yeah, you go to 114th and Dodge.
Yeah, you make a left down there, and then the Starbucks is by the Burger King.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's between me and Thomas going there, or me and Ron Schur, or Mayfield, or Spencer, or where I was jetting around there.
All right. Well, there you have it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Great.
All right.
Fun. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thank you.
I seen a new question pop in here too.
From Allman McLean.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a deep one here. No questions for Alex. Yeah, but think of it. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Here's one for Jason. How many times do you go out and just sit in BF4?
Bigfoot 4.
Oh, I was thinking Battlefield 4.
Yeah, see, when I see it,
yeah, you see Monster Truck, I see video games.
Yeah, I see Bigfoot 4, and you see Battlefield.
That's crazy how I saw Battlefield. I was like, Jason don't play Battlefield. All right, for the Gotti, got any aluminum Trinity RC10 B3 goodies? Need some rear hub carriers. Any anodized color at this point? I could say no on that, but I'm not going to. I have a box of stuff in the garage that I'll never get to, but I should say never. I shouldn't say never, but if I ever do, Almond, and I come across something, I'll hook you up. Don't worry, bro. So Jason, the Bigfoot 4 question: how many times do you go out and just sit in Bigfoot? Well, Jason doesn't sit in it anymore.
I did sell it to Fred Reed, who works for us. He brought it back to Missouri, being worked on at a Gateway Classic Mustangs, is doing a restoration on it. But to be honest, I probably sat in the seat maybe 3 times total. Took a couple photos. You got to have a couple photos in there, but other than that, it's actually really hard to get into Bigfoot 4. You have to come up through the bottom of the truck. On the passenger side, there is a homemade little step that sits into the frame, and you come up on the passenger side, and you have to straddle and go over the center console and then drop into the seat. And then the steering wheel detaches, so then you have to attach the steering wheel to the column.
Yeah, boy.
So it's no easy task to just jump in the seat of that truck. The cool guys, when they were racing it or driving it, like John Pyen and Andy Brass and these guys, they would go in through the driver's side window. So you would climb up the tires, and you would, stick your legs into the passenger or the driver's side window, and then you get into the seat. That's kind of how the cool guys got in.
Ah, okay.
I never did it that way, because if you don't have the big tires on it, it's not easy to do that. because with the big tires, you could crawl up the tires and then you can go into the window and get in there. But when there's not the big tires on it, you don't have that proximity to it. So hard truck to get into. So good question. But yeah, I'd say 2 or 3 times is probably as many times as I got in the seat.
Wow. All right. Well, Allman, thanks for those questions. And oh, wait a minute. Actually, I'll hold on to this because you got other ones here.
I'll run over his question here real quick.
It's 8:30.
Yeah.
I know, but there's a football game on right now. Okay, go ahead. Just make it quick, will you?
Football. They still have that sport?
Yes, they do. Thursday night.
Okay. J Concepts has already shown a good national following with its Super Cup series. Is there if there were one 10-scale national race league to race for a season, A, how many races should be in a season and how many races for the national series per month? How long would the race season go from what months, February to October, for example? What would be the race format for the series? What race would kick off the series and how would you advertise it? And how would you wind down the series for the end of the year to keep people interested? This is pretty funny because we have a national series. We have 5 races for the whole year. And I believe that in the way we do them is we have a winter, spring, summer, and fall nationals. They're in 4 different locations. The final is at Beach RC. So we call that the final. That's 5 races. And, so the first one's in February. The second one is in May. The third one is in July. The fourth one is in October. And then the final is in December. So we spread them out through the whole year. But they're not necessarily a month apart. They're a little more than that. And, he's asking how many races should be in a season. And since we're doing it, I'll say 5. And how many races per month? I would say you don't want 1 per month. You want it longer, stretched out longer than that. How long would the race season go? He's asking here, February to October. We do ours February to December. What would be the race format of the series? We do IFMAR starts, 3 qualifiers, 3 triple main events for modified, long single mains for stock. We have independent stock this year, and it's been a success. I don't necessarily believe that we need heads-up starts to make racing exciting or fun. We've already had heads-up starts. We've went through that phase. Sure, it's fun to watch, but I think the racers will get irritated with that system because guys get upset now when they get taken out and they're not even starting all at once in qualifying. So, and in order, you can't have a heads-up race and think that it's going to be great for spectators if you don't get any spectators. It's like, the thing that always cracks me up is people are like, yeah, we'll start all at once and that's great for spectators. And I'm like, all right, well, how are you going to get the spectators there?
That's what I was saying. Like Motorama should go heads up though.
Yeah, of course.
Because they got thousands of people that come through there.
Yeah, they have spectators, but we go to these races and we'll go to a small track somewhere and next to a cornfield, and it's like you don't have spectators. Yeah, the spectators are the other racers and their family members. Yeah. So it's people. I think their vision of what RC should be in general is different from reality, and I think we do pretty well in RC. I think we can do better, but we actually do pretty well considering where we hold these things, how inviting we are to spectators. And at the same time, you have to want to be a spectator. Like, how many things in my life, do I actually just want to be a spectator at? It's like, I've never been to a NASCAR race, and it's probably a great spectator thing. It's like you have to want to be a spectator, and then we're trying to convince somebody to buy a very expensive car, and they think it's for kids, but it's not really for kids, it's for adults, also enjoyed by kids. So this is a whole nother conversation for another time, but I have my own opinions. But anyway, what race would kick off the series? We kick ours off in St. Louis, Missouri in February at Smack Track. He's asking how would we advertise it, and right now we advertise it to the racers we think that would show up and attend. We've done it many different ways over the years. When we started doing races, we tried to mail people information. We would, I'd type up something. I think I have it on my computer somewhere. And then we would mail it to people. We would put things into our orders at work.
Snail mail?
Yeah, we did that when we first started.
Oh.
Some of our first events, we did snail mail. We put things into people's orders at that time. We've tried and did different things over the years. But when we go and do these events, you also have to have a facility that can host spectators. So if you're going to advertise, you're going to have, or you want spectators, you better have somewhere to put them if you do get them. The experience tells me that it is very hard to get spectators to begin with. They have to be there for something else. You can't just advertise RC and say it's free to spectators. You're just going to get a handful of people to come watch it, and then they want to watch the cars crash, and it's totally different than what people think it is. You don't just have all these people walking in as spectators saying, "Hey, where can I spend $2,000 on this stuff?" They're taking it as entertainment. The crashes, it's cool. Like how many backflips you can do. We have to target our people that want to be technically savvy, want to work on something for themselves, and have a vision of what they want it to look like, and then they can pull it off by working on it, doing it, and I think that's the kind of people we're looking for. There's some people that just don't match what we're doing. They don't have the technical know-how, or they don't want to. They don't want to have the commitment that it takes to be that competitive. If you want to be good at this stuff, or you want to like it, you got to sit down and work on it during the week. You gotta think about it. You gotta be into it. It can't be just, I'm gonna pull it out of my trunk of my car and throw it down, and that person doesn't usually last very long. It's a big commitment. Like you said, when you were young, you worked on your cars every day, and you couldn't wait to get to the track on the weekend. And those are the kind of people we're looking for. People that have a commitment, the dedication, some technical ability, and they want to make it right. And those are the people that we're looking for, not the people that just want to watch them crash. And that doesn't really do anything for us. So unless you're selling a one-night stand RC vehicle, something you want to just sell somebody for $50 or $60, they take it off a couple curbs, they break it, and they throw it in the closet and never gets used again. Mm-hmm. And that's not really a race car. That's just, or a hobby-based car. That's just a toy. So lots of things to consider. I don't think you can have hundreds of national races or 50 national races. People aren't going to, if you're stacking up points on a local level, and then you can qualify for a national event, something to that nature. maybe that would work, but we can't expect people to travel long distances to many events through the year because people don't have that type of time, money, dedication. The last thing we need to do is add more events all over the place. What we need is people that are interested in their local tracks, interested in bringing an atmosphere and sort of a racing environment to their local area, and then building it from local out. That's how it was done when I started, and I still think that's the best way to do it. So there is no magic button. You can't just have 1,000 races all over the U.S. and think that's going to be this big attraction. It's not. And the series they were talking about, RC whatever it was, RCGP. Just because you put a bunch of pros out there and have this couple races around the world, that's not going to do anything for us either. So there's a lot of things that I think would work, but it's just like I said, it's another show. We can concentrate on that, but a lot of the things that people are coming up with, I think they're great for a pro racer, or they're great for somebody maybe trying to generate income off of a series. It's good, maybe it's good, it benefits that standpoint, but I don't know that that's benefiting the industry at all, or getting more people involved.
Well, that's a whole other show.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll have to
the thing
remember
that
to
we do, the thing that we do with our series, and we have talked about this a little bit, but our national series, like I said, is 5 races, and the track itself controls the sign-up. They take the money for the race registration. We ask that they provide a hotel for our media, and we do a small amount for the race entry. We ask for to help cover our cost to go, but the lion's share of everything goes to the track or hobby store, and I think that's a benefit to the tracks. And what we want to do is we want to help promote it, make it big, 300 or 400 entries. Well, 300 entries is our maximum, and the track benefits from that. We're not there to take money from these races. We want to sell product. We just don't. We want to help the tracks be a little bit more exposed with the media. People recognize the locations, the names, the facilities. They know that they're capable of doing some bigger and better things because they're hosting an event. And I think that's the reason why we do our races and kind of how it works. And the biggest thing with our races is everybody wants to do one. They think but once we have a location set to do these events, people don't want to give them up either because they're used to having this big race where they get 300 entries. So, but the mistake is thinking that every track could get 300 entries. That's not really true. All we do is if we just keep adding a bunch of races all over the place, all they do is dilute themselves, and you'll end up with 120 entry races. So, anyway.
120, you say?
Yes, sir.
Ah. All right. Thanks for the question, Almond.
Almond wants that B3 goodies from you.
Just all associated up. They'll hook you up. You're buddies with Cliff Lett. They'll have something, won't they?
Not from Trinity.
Well, no, but they'll have some kind of aluminum rear hub.
They actually, Associated didn't make aluminum hubs for a B3.
Oh, they did? No?
No, I think you guys supposedly made them at Trinity.
Oh, we're the only ones, huh?
I never used them, but
Hmm.
I got the plastic ones on my car. They're dialed.
Did I ever tell you a story? I had all the aluminum red parts I had to deliver them to Chicago. Did I tell you that story? Ah, never mind.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I don't know if I told it on there or not, but that was a good story. Anyway, forget it. Episode 181.
You know what? Some guy
what?
asked when we're having Ray Monday on the show, and I agree that would be a great guest.
Oh, okay.
From
we will
Australia.
have Ray Monday on the show on Monday. Now, Jason hooked me up with some 2 prizes, the Spencer Rifkin plaques from INS8 and the Turf Nationals, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So we're giving it away this weekend to patrons of the show at patreon.com/radioimpound. We're going to have a Royal Rumble match. I was going to have it in the Ripcast Arena. I designed a whole arena, has the Ripcast logo everywhere, has our faces in it. But oddly enough, you cannot use a created arena with the Royal Rumble mode yet. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. What we're going to do is we're just going to do it in the regular Royal Rumble arena. My apologies. Didn't realize that till today. But we designed a real cool arena where we're going to have all these matches for prizes. We could still have all the other matches, like ladder matches and one-on-ones, tag team matches, so forth. Just the Royal Rumble mode, for whatever reason, you cannot use a created arena. So maybe that's something they'll patch back in. But anyway, we're going to give away the Spencer Rifkin plaque, so big thanks to Spencer for handing them over to us, and thanks to Jason getting them for us. And patrons of the show square off in the Royal Rumble. The last 2 standing will win the first. We'll figure it out. 1 and 2 will get the plaque. So I'll be holding that this weekend. I'll be streaming it on our YouTube channel at Radio Impound. You can watch it there, or you can watch it later. I'll post it onto our Facebook page. There you go.
Did
And
I was going to ask.
I sent the other prizes out. Woody Garwood's getting his Mayfield body.
Nice.
He's going to take a photo with it. And he said he'll get a photo to us. So that's great, because that's what I asked you guys. Get a photo, not just of the product. It'd be cool if you're holding it, just to prove I'm giving this stuff away. So Woody Garwood, he's getting his. And Jason Minich is getting his Tanner Denny body. So actually, they should have it by now. So they'll get the photos to me, and we'll post them up there. And then I'm still waiting for Scott Marinick. So if Scott, you're listening, I need your address. I messaged you through Patreon, but I haven't got a response from you yet. So I need your address, or if anybody knows Scott, tell him we're looking for him. Need his address to ship him out some prizes from Jason. Jason has something for him. So those were our 3 winners from the last show. And we got, like I said, Royal Rumble going to happen this weekend.
Yeah. 120, you say?
120, say. All right, that was episode 181, you say. I'm going to do 19 more, you say, and then we're going to end it, you say. It's going to be over at episode 200. Unless you guys want us to keep going, say.
Yeah, I think we got to go
that,
past
say.
200. We'll be going past 200. I mean, now we're only 19 left until
we'll go. Jason will talk me into it, I'm sure. He'll
have those done before the end of the year.
You think?
200.
You think?
200 before 2019. That should be the goal.
Well, there you go. That's something to set your goals on, Jason.
Well, I mean, that would be your goal.
So I'm here hey, I'm available anytime. Well, that's not true.
Okay. I'll be here all night.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode. Thanks to Alex Sturgeon, and hope he enjoys his vacation to Camden.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful time of the year to go there. All the shootings and so forth in the fall.
Oh,
just really nice. Yeah.
All right, guys. Time for food.
Jason's going to go get food. What are you getting?
I don't know. I'm asking Allison right now.
Oh, all right. It's birdseed.
Yeah.
Gonna sit down with some birdseed and watch the Eagles versus the Giants.
Ugh. Football.
jconcepts.net. Go over there. Order. Tell your hobby shop to order.
I I would say we got some new cool stuff going right now. We got a few more things coming.
You say that every show now. Are you delivering?
Yep. We
Okay.
are delivering.
All right, I trust you. Okay. Pete Phillips is looking for that bead lock thing or whatever for whatever.
We do. We have photos. We just did photos of them today.
Okay.
Say.
Don't. You just did the photo, say. It's coming to you, Pete. Say.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Say. Well, I'll tell you where I got it from. Courage the Cowardly Dog, but he got it from somewhere else.
Interesting.
You ever watch Courage the Cowardly Dog?
No.
Anyway.
I wonder if Kirby's ever coming back to the show.
Well, he's got a lot. Well, look, he's busy. You know, he's got softball games all over the place.
On the weekend.
And you know, he's always, Thursday nights. Thursday nights are just bad. He can't record Thursday nights. He can't record Thursday nights. And then I'm sure Friday's bad, and Saturday's probably definitely out of the question. Yeah, probably I don't know when, because then flag football starts up soon. So, so he's a busy man.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Okay. Go Patriots. Big game this weekend, folks. So send the good vibes. See what we can do against the 5-0 Kansas City Chiefs. See if we can get them a loss. See what happens.
They're 5-0.
They're 5-0.
Oof.
They're 5-0. They usually start 5-0, and then they start going a little bit on a losing streak. But
then they end up 5-10.
Hopefully, we could give them their first L and see. I don't mind Kansas City. It's not one of the teams I hate like the Eagles, so I like Andy Reid. All right, go Patriots. See you.
Go Lakers.
Are we coming back next week? Oh, that's right, Lakers, baby. Did you see the LeBron? Did you see the LeBron highlights from? Yeah.
You guys are so lucky that he wanted to come to LA. Unreal that you guys.
Well, no, Magic Johnson got him there.
Yeah, right. In your Lakers lifetime, look at all these greats you've had on your team. So cheating.
Oh, cheating.
America's team.
Los Angeles Lakers, we're back.
I mean, I can't believe I have to watch the Lakers this year. So mad.
Why? Is it going to be great? It's going to be fun to watch.
I know it is. But you know the part that is going to be bad is West Coast time games.
Yeah, that's always been a killer of mine since I was a kid. I mean, it was just brutal.
It is.
Brutal. Well, I mean, it was easier when I was a teenager to do it, but now it's like, oh, God.
It's like I'm lucky to make it through the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. Season starts up in a few weeks, so.
Yeah, 8 days or something.
Yeah. And your hockey team, Vegas, is starting up now, so. I don't know nothing what's going on there, but just know it's.
Yeah, I'll catch up before the season starts. I mean, we were already in the finals last year.
And the Yankees lost the other night, so that's great. That's great. Yankees lose, that's always a good time.
Yeah, see, Kirby had a good weekend because all the teams he hates lost.
Oh man, we had an excellent weekend. I think it was like a week or two ago where Penn State lost, Steelers lost, and the Eagles lost. It was fantastic. It was like the stars were aligned.
It was a dream weekend.
Oh, it was fabulous. It was fabulous. God, it was great.
Good thing that the 49ers spent all that money on Garoppolo.
Well, that's all right. He'll be back next year.
Next year.
Jimmy G's fine. He's fine.
He's already he's getting older.
He's getting older already.
Getting older.
All right. Okay, we gotta go.
Okay. Later.
Yes, you put it succinctly.
Suck what?
Succinctly, it means perfectly.
Oh, yeah. May I do that?